Hey everybody, it's me Laura, and today I'm going to show you how to do the Wild Tiger Lily. Or at least I should say my version of it. Right here I'm going ahead and I'm just creating my Skinner blend, my yellow and red clay, blending that together over and over again until I get a nice blend between the two. Okay, so once you get the blend you really like, go ahead and cut a section. I had quite a bit here. And then fold that in half again and then once again. Feed that through your pasta machine so that you elongate out that Skinner blend. So it's a nice, long, gradual transition between the yellow and red. Once you have that, lay that down flat and then take your blade and go ahead and cut the one end off so it's nice and flush. Then I took my clay gun here, and this is the black clay I'm using, and I used that mid-sized like hair disc, I call it, and I just went ahead and pushed out some of that black rope-like clay. Once I had that, you take a little bit of that off, and then you're going to take one strand of this. So you take one strand away from that bunch, and then position it so that it lays nice and flat and straight right over that yellow clay on the one end when you're doing on your Skinner blend. Cut that section off and then place another strand right beside it and go ahead and cut that off as well right after you get done folding it like I'm doing here. Once you have that section cut, you can see I've also added in now a few more here onto the next layer right on top of that yellow. I'm going to add in a third one right here, just a third little rope strand, cutting it off flush, and then again folding it over. Now I try to stagger these so that they're not right on top of each other. So if I have a little black rope on top of another, that's not what I want. I want to go ahead and create it so that they're staggered. And that means that when you're doing the fan folds, every single layer you're going to have a fan fold and you're going to have those ropes sitting on top and side by side so that when the next layer comes up, they're going to be staggered in between what was on the layer underneath it. Now eventually, as you keep doing this back and forth and adding the little rope layers and so on, you're going to eventually get to a point where you're going to add just like one single rope into a section, or I should say a folded layer. And this is just to kind of stagger it where you're not going to have a bunch of those, I want to say little ropes, but coming out of it, when you see it from the side, it's going to be just like a single dot. And that's what we're shooting for, because we want to get to a point here when we get to that or closer into that red, we want to not have too many more of those little black ropes going in. All right, so now we're just fan folding it all the way up with no extra ropes in there. And we're going to get to the top, and once you have that all put together, I like to go ahead and just kind of see what I have on the side. And take off some of these extra ends. There we go. You can kind of see those little dots now is what they're going to appear as on the side. And I'm just kind of rolling this out with my acrylic roller, so I just kind of get it nice and flush so it looks nice and neat to work with. All right, now you're seeing it all nice and neat right there in this brick form. So from there, you're going to go ahead and create this, or I should say make this into a rounded cane. And again, it's a reduction process, so from the middle, working outwards, you're going to be using pressure all the way around to create this nice little rounded cane. And that way then you'll find yourself with a petal cane at the very end. So I call this now my one-petaled tiger lily, if you will. And all I'm doing is I'm pinching the red end so it's going to be into a teardrop form on this cane. That's what you're shooting for. You want to have a teardrop form kind of cane, and then you're going to go ahead and cut off a slice of this. Once you have that, I kind of like to, press it down so it's nice and neat on my finger, and then with my needle tool, drag a couple of lines right up the center and pull the point. And that'll create that petal the way I want it. From there, I went ahead and I used some 26 gauge wire, some gold wire, and cut off like 3 pieces of it. And then I take that wire and I wrap that little petal around those 3 pieces of wire. Then I'll take some leaf green clay, make a ball, and then make it into a log, and then flatten that log, and then wrap that around the bottom of that petal. And this way then you roll it back and forth in your fingers, and then you pull it, and you have a nice little stem for your one-petaled flower. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and create the 3-petaled tiger lily. And you're just going to cut off 3 pieces from that cane that we started with and drag, your needle tool up the center and pull your points. And you're going to do that on all 3 pieces of this wild tiger lily cane that you just created. Once you have all 3 of those pieces created, take some wire, and again we're going to take our gold, and as I want to say the 26 gauge, and go ahead and cut 3 to 5 pieces off of there. And once you have that, put those all together, and then take one of the petals and place the other one halfway into the first one you created, and then repeat that motion with the 3rd petal. Once you have that, take those wires and stick them right into the center. Pull the bottom part and curl the ends of those petals, and then go ahead and take some green leaf green clay and roll that out into a log, and then flatten it and wrap that around the bottom. Go ahead and work that back and forth in your fingers, and eventually you're going to go ahead and pull and eventually create a little stem for that as well. This will then give you your 3-petal wild tiger lily. So here I have the examples of the different stages I went through to create the wild tiger lily cane, plus the 1-petal and 3-petal tiger lilies. Please use this for study and reference, and if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you're thinking. And as always, I'm sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.